Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to dig into the promises and maybe more importantly, the real-world feedback on a pretty popular all-in-one floor cleaner. We're talking about the Dreame H12 FlexReach, and we're basing this whole breakdown on what we can find on its own product page.
All right, so here's the plan. We'll kick things off by figuring out what exactly this machine is supposed to be. Then we'll look at the key features they're marketing. After that, we dive deep into what actual customers are saying. We'll also cover the practical stuff, like maintenance. And finally, we'll try to answer the big question. Is this thing a game changer or just a big gamble?
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of this specific machine, let's just take a step back. What's the whole point of a wet-dry vacuum in the first place? What problem is it actually trying to solve? Well, the core idea is pretty simple. It's about combining two really tedious chores, vacuuming and mopping, into one single easy action. It's built to handle everything from dust bunnies and pet hair to spilled milk and muddy paw prints all in one go. The goal is to save you a ton of time and, as their product page puts it, sparkle your home's floor. So now that we know what it's supposed to do, let's get into the how. What's the special tech that Dreame is packing into this thing to deliver on that all-in-one promise? First up is a really big one, and it's all about maintenance. It has a high-temperature self-cleaning and self-drying cycle for the roller brush, and this all happens right on its charging base. And honestly, this is a huge deal. It's designed to solve one of the absolute worst problems with mops and other wet cleaners, that gross, mildewy, funky smell that comes from a damp, dirty brush. The idea here is that every time you go to clean, you're starting with a brush that's already clean, dry, and ready to go. Next up, the design itself. It claims to be able to tackle those really annoying, hard-to-reach areas that usually get skipped. And here it is in action. I mean, look at that. It can lie completely flat, letting you get way under couches and low-profile furniture without getting on your hands and knees. They've really focused the engineering on making sure it doesn't leak dirty water everywhere and that it keeps its suction even when it's horizontal. And finally, this is for anybody out there with pets or long hair or both. You know the pain of having to pull out the scissors and perform surgery on your vacuum roller? Well, this product highlights a specific anti-tangle feature. This little tangle cut scraper is their direct answer to one of the most frustrating things about traditional vacuums. It's supposed to automatically cut and manage hair as you clean, so you don't have to do it yourself. Okay, so that's the sales pitch, right? Hot, self-cleaning, a lay-flat design, no more hair tangles. It sounds amazing on paper, but what's the reality for the people who've actually spent their hard-earned money on this thing? Let's check out the reviews. So the product is sitting at a pretty solid 4.1 out of 5 stores, and that's from over 2,500 ratings. At first glance, that looks pretty good, but that number doesn't even begin to tell the whole story. And here is where it gets really, really interesting. Just look at this polarization. It's wild. A massive 68%. That's more than 2/3 of all buyers. Give it a perfect 5 stars. But then look at the other end. A pretty significant 15%. Give it just 1 star. There is almost nobody in the middle. It seems to be a very love it or hate it kind of experience. And this love/hate relationship becomes crystal clear when you dig into the themes of the reviews. The praise, it's all about performance. People say it cleans exceptionally well, it's super easy to maneuver, and the battery is great. The problems, though, they are almost all about long-term reliability. The story is basically, it works great until it suddenly and catastrophically doesn't. So on one side, you have users like Jacob who are just thrilled. "My mind was blown," he says. For him, that self-cleaning feature completely changed the game, making the cleanup process feel like nothing compared to what he was doing before. But then you have this exact experience from Green Mountain. They initially called it a game changer, but had to come back and update their review just 5 months later because a core function completely failed. This review just perfectly captures that whole love it then lose it pattern we're seeing. And a lot of users echo this feeling. When the machine is working and delivering those beautiful floors, that high price tag feels totally justified. But for others, it's a nightmare. Breakdowns like constant leaks or phantom error messages make the product completely useless. For them, that big investment turned into what they call a total waste of money. So, with all these mixed reviews about whether the thing even works long-term, let's take a look at the manufacturer's own advice on maintenance. And while we're at it, let's see how this model stacks up against others in the Dreame H12 series. Okay, so this is straight from the product's own FAQ section.
And it's pretty revealing. This is not a set it and forget it machine. There's a clear multi-step process you're supposed to do after every single use. It seems like proper operation really depends on the user being diligent with these steps to keep it working well and to avoid those nasty odors. And just for some context, when you compare the FlexReach to another popular model, the H12 Pro, you can see its key selling points. You get a much longer runtime, 50 minutes versus 35, and you get those two unique features we talked about, the lie-flat design and that anti-tangle scraper, which the Pro model doesn't have.
So, after breaking down the cool features and sifting through the really sharply divided customer feedback, what's the final verdict here? What's the takeaway on the Dreame H12 FlexReach?
Well, it all seems to boil down to this one clear conflict. On one hand, you have what appears to be a brilliant machine that delivers a level of clean that makes people rave. But on the other hand, there's this undeniable, recurring pattern of questionable long-term reliability. And that leaves you, the potential buyer, with one final question to ask yourself. Is that revolutionary convenience truly worth the potential risk?